Welcome back to Vancouver Carpenter. I have kind of an exciting one, at least I think so. I am taking over a taping job for a homeowner. So there's a ton of things you guys are going to be able to learn from this video. I hope you'll stick around. But first, let's lay down some ground rules, okay? If you are going to comment, I'm not even saying don't criticize. Just be kind. Remember that you're talking to another human if you're saying comments about any of the work that's been done here. So with that in mind, let's check out what's been going on in here. And remember, of course, I'm not gonna get called in if it's easy. Okay, so we have this small bathroom in here. And yeah, it's all pre-filled. He's got a good start on some of that. Definitely some of it's a little bit heavy. You know, we got a big lip in this joint here we got to float out before we can even tape it. Got a joint there. There's something going on here and I'm not sure what it is. So yeah, you can see it goes from nothing up to 1.5 inches there. That's one of the things I can't figure out. And yeah, we just got, you know, the mud in some of the corners is a little thicker than would be ideal. Something's going on here. You can see that corner kind of blows out up there. And then up here, I can't figure out what's going on with this thing. If you can tell, that's kicking out easily 1/2 inch over like maybe 3 or 4 inches. So I'm not sure what we're gonna be able to do with that other than just float it way out. Like it's almost like there was a score on the back of the board. Maybe there's a joint there, but that framing wasn't flush. So it is sticking out as much as it looks like there. So I'm gonna have to feather that way down. And we got a lot of mud that needs to be scraped off first. So what I'm thinking is we're just gonna have to scrape off the high spots and pre-fill stuff flat because I don't really feel like sanding that much. Other than that, it's looking pretty decent. We got some tape joints here. I know there's gonna be a few blisters here that we have to deal with. Those are pretty easy to solve. So I'll show you guys what to do about that stuff. But yeah, that's it. So it's just a little bit of sanding and scraping, some pre-fill, and then we'll get to taping this. All right, so yeah, let's get started. Just gonna scrape off all the chunks. Can't tell if this is quick set or all purpose. You know, I don't think I can do it justice with the lighting I have, but it's a bit of work. Most importantly, I just want the big clumps out. Because what I don't want to be doing is like leaving accidentally a big lump somewhere in here and then going and putting my tape over top of it and then having this big protrusion under my tape. So that's why I'm just scraping. Scrape, scrape, scrape. All right, so there's a first for everything, but today we are gonna need a chisel to get this corner down to where we need it to be. There we go. So I was right, some of this was quick set. So there's like some darker gray stuff and that's like super hard quick set. But a lot of this stuff is just regular mud and it's also built up pretty high over some of these joints where it's pre-filled. In this case, we are gonna be able to sand because, you know, regular all-purpose mud sands pretty easy. All right, so the blisters aren't too complicated. I'm pretty sure I can see it going from about right here with a nice sharp knife. I'm just carving it out right to about there. There we go. Fortunately, it didn't go all the way down to the joint. When I tap on it, I can hear that there's no air underneath, so that's good. It doesn't sound hollow. So actually, as I was cutting the blisters out, my gut was telling me that maybe I should redo it. Because the bond didn't seem too strong, at least not on the one over there. So yeah, ideally, you shouldn't be able to pull your tape off like this. So that's not bad, it's sticking right there. But for the most part, my guess is the mud was just too thick. So the mud has to be thinned down enough for the glue in the taping mud to actually stick to this. So in this case, I think it was lightweight all-purpose. And as you can see, if it's too thick and it doesn't saturate, it just pulls right off. So yeah, my gut told me I'd probably be better off pulling this off and just redoing it. There was only a couple of joints, so it's not a big deal. All right, you guys, so definitely the most stumping thing in here for most people, I think, would be this crazy corner here that was all built up and, you know, all over the place. So what we're gonna do here is just build it out smooth. So it's not necessarily gonna be straight. This is a little old cabin that just doesn't need that kind of attention to detail, so we're not gonna worry about making sure everything's deadly straight. We just wanna make sure that the movement, not movement in the joints, but like what it actually looks like in terms of, you know, all these undulations here, just that it's not wiggly, that they're long and broad instead of a snaky line. Now I've got 20 minutes, so I gotta move it here. I really can't afford to be like chatting and showing you guys everything up close. I gotta just get this on so we can get to the taping. But you might be surprised with how I choose to solve this weird thing. This is one of those times where Quickset's your friend. So you remember it bows out all crazy. Well, we're just gonna tape this thing because this is a joint and it needs tape and mud. So I'm putting this stuff on real thick here. And remember I said that we were gonna float this out. So I'll just do this as far as the camera can see. Man, it's gotta be a 1/2 inch right here. And I'm having a hard time trying to make sure that I don't gouge this, the other work. So where does that camera go to? A little further than that? Right about there. So no need to tape further than I can reach. Let's start back here. I believe the joint's right about there. Then it goes up closer to the ceiling as it goes along. Oh, right about there. Let's stop there. Now, I'm just gonna embed the tape. I don't have to get everything out. This tape's gonna be floating in a sea of mud. But it should be enough to stop that crack from potentially showing up over time. It's gonna have a whole bunch of Quickset underneath and above it. So this stuff's gonna dry real hard. And even that right there, this is already looking a lot smoother, but let's get a quick coat over top of it as well, because I really don't feel like doing any more and then waiting for the Quickset to set before I can tape. Like looking at this, that's starting to look good enough. When I'm finished, I will show you guys what it looks like. We are almost at the point where we can call that good. I'll be able to feather that out, make it look pretty. But you guys get the idea, I think. We're just floating all this mess out. And by the time we tape that top angle and then hide that tape, should be starting to look pretty good. And that's one of the nice things about Quickset is you can just put so much of it on. You know, it hides so many sins here. Because the Quickset doesn't shrink as it dries. It's gonna stay just how I left it. Oh, that's ugly. Oh, that's a shame. It was going so good until I pushed a little too hard. Okay, we'll just have to leave it like that for now because I'm gonna mess it up if I do any more. All right, so it's not actually looking so bad. You know, we got a few lift-offs to scrape. Over here, it got a little bit nasty, as you can see right there. But by the time I tape it and coat it a couple times, it's gonna be great. So that's how we solved that one, just some pre-fill. Smooth it out, make it flat. scrape it down. And then we had this big one, remember that big joint? So all I did was I just, you know, pre-filled this and brought it over a ways. So once I go and put my corner tape in here, it's gonna be a no-coat tape because it's an off angle, as you can see. Then floating that out is gonna help even that out so the no-coat doesn't go on super awkward and crooked. All right, you guys, time to start taping. And I know there's a few of you guys that might gag a little bit, but I'm actually gonna be taping this job with the Tape Buddy. Why? Because it works really well for tiny little jobs like this. It cleans up really easy and it's actually surprisingly fast. So I know that sounds like a hardcore sales pitch, but the actual sponsored video is gonna come out sometime after this one. That one's more of just like a how to use the Tape Buddy. So to be totally honest, I gotta face this the other way. It's not gonna work going against that wall. Although I think I almost have enough here. So I actually filmed the how to use the the Tape Buddy video a few times. And this is my 4th time using the tool. And there was almost no learning curve except for the fact that I chose not to read the instructions the first couple times using it and you know, struggled a tiny bit. Had I actually read the instructions, it's super easy to use. So easy that, like I said, I'm actually using it on this little job because it's just like, I don't know, you just don't have to think or do very much when using this little guy. So, believe it or not, I actually like it. Yeah. Like, I just don't even want to clean my super taper on a job this size. I'll spend as much time cleaning it as I will taping it. So I'd rather take just a little bit longer taping it, but do less cleaning. If you're interested in the tool, I'll link it in the description. But no hard sell here, guys. You get whatever you want to get. Oh, that was a good length estimate there. Like, it's not the fastest, but I do think it's totally the most dummy-proof method of taping you could possibly do. Follow the instructions, you'll get the results you're looking for. Oh man, I didn't even clip my mic on. It's just been dangling here the whole time. I wonder what that sounds like. So one of the reasons that you haven't seen the Tape Buddy on my channel before is I think I felt a little sheepish, almost embarrassed to use it because I see it as, you know, a cheap homeowner tool, which is actually exactly what it is and not necessarily a bad thing. But I suppose, you know, I look at myself as a professional and I thought, oh, you know, I can't use such a little tool like that when I know how to use all the fancy tools. But the owner was very persistent and he just kept asking me to make a video and it's been a lot of back and forth. But then once I tried it, like I said, this is my 4th time using it. Once I tried it, I realized I was actually kind of doing you guys a disservice by not showing you a tool that's this dummy-proof and easy to use. Okay, for an acute corner like this, so one that is shallower than 90 degrees, like sharper, I think a lot of people would assume that I would use no coat, but I don't use no coat for these. Instead, I just use paper tape and I wait until that crease finds the corner, like so, by just pressing my knife up. And once you've found that corner, you can just wipe it out like any other 90-degree corner. I find they coat really easily too. So it's just usually one coat on each side, just like a regular corner tape. So no need to make a big production out of these ones. As long as your framing's not too bad, they coat out pretty darn easy. So that's good right there. Anyways, enough about that. I gotta have my coffee. And then next, I'm gonna test out my Columbia tools, but I think I'm going to have that be a separate video. So anyways, getting close to done here though, today. All right, you guys, I've got one last thing to do today, and that's install the no coat, which is a flexible inside or outside corner bead for that 45-degree angle. But I'm bagged. So I am gonna do it, but I'm not gonna film it because honestly, I got here at 10 and it's like almost 3 o'clock. That's 5 hours. So if I wasn't filming any content, this would be about a 2 to 3 hour job, depending on how much I farted around. But filming everything I'm doing easily triples the workload. So yeah, I'm turning the camera off. I'll show you guys what it looks like in a minute when I'm done. All right, I got this stuff installed, and the last thing that I am doing today, there's a couple of things. I want to get a coat on this stuff. So I find no coat, in spite of its name, can take a lot of mud to actually fill. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting like an initial sort of cheater coat on here, even though you can coat no coat after install. But yeah, just want to get a little bit of mud on here to make sure that I've got it installed right, because I can't adjust it once it dries out. But right now, because it's freshly installed, I can still adjust it. So once I've done this, I can see if it's installed properly. It's all looking pretty good. Right here, there was a big dip in the wall, so it needs a little more mud. But if I put 2 more coats over top of this no coat, it's gonna look really good. So that's why I like to give it that extra head start. All right, and the last thing I'm doing before I go home is I'm giving this a coat as well. If you guys remember how bowed out this was, how it had that, like at some points, 1/2 inch of fill. Yeah, I wanna make sure that I get another coat to flatten this out, because I know that I'm not gonna be able to make that look reasonably flat and good in one coat. I think the other side will be okay, but this side's gonna need 2 coats for sure. In fact, I need to get my 8-inch knife because this 6-inch isn't cutting it. This 8-inch is one of the few blue steel knives I own. Love this knife, actually. It's a good knife. Make sure I go lower than the quick set that I already did. All right. Feather them edges, you guys know the drill. And let's see if we can do a nice couple of finish passes here. That's not bad for a first coat. Let's not get too fussy, huh? I want to go home. Looks good for my house. Yeah, that'll do. Little feather. I can live with that. That's got a couple days to dry up. All right, let's get a look at this job. So, yeah, not looking too bad. Not looking too bad. How about that no coat? So the most important thing is don't bury that line. Don't get mud right up to that line. So that's why it has to be installed properly, because if it's not installed properly, then it sort of curves in the wrong way into that line and you can't make it look nice and flat. So this I'm gonna cut off after this sets up. I'll come back, just use my knife, find that line, cut it off. I don't even know what's going on here. It looks like it's not finished. But yeah, The old tape buddy didn't do too bad, Mr. Vancouver Carpenter's too proud to try the tape buddy. As you can see, that took a deep fill, needed a lot. Focus, come on, you can do this. Anyways, you guys, that's it. I'm done for the day. And I know that there's been a bunch of you screaming in the comments, Ben, why is there regular drywall in a shower? I don't know. It's what I showed up to today. I can only hope the homeowner is going to put about 6 or 7 coats of Red Guard on here, or maybe a Curdy system. I have no idea. You know what? Sometimes it just is what it is when you show up and you make the best of it. So I think that's what we did here. It's looking good. I'm looking forward to coming back and giving it a coat in a couple of days. I'll do my best to film that process so you guys can see how this job goes along through the stages. It's not a big job, so I should be able to do it. Anyways, I just want to say a big thanks for watching Vancouver Carpenter. If you've made it this far in the video, a big thanks, because you know what? I know that you are one of the core viewers, and thank you. It means a lot to me and it means a lot to my family. So, till the next video, thanks for watching.